What's up, guys? Welcome back to Airbnb ABCs. I'm super happy to have you guys here today because we are going to talk about one of, if not the most important thing in short-term rental real estate. We're going to talk about money and how much money that my portfolio is actually making so that you guys, if you're out there, you can, for one, tell if I'm full of crap or not.
You know who lives in this house? A great big phony!
Two, if you all are looking at a short-term rental, you can get an inside look at the actual numbers, the revenue that's coming in, the expenses going out, the net income, and then we can even get into some of the side benefits, which actually the side benefits are bigger than the short-term benefits of just the money coming in and out, and those being your equity gains, your note pay down, and all the tax benefits of it. But I can show you guys this without all the hype and fluff of all the other folks that are on the internet that are, just throwing out hypotheticals. These are the real deal. We're going to be looking at our 3 cabins in detail for the months of August, September, and October. And I've done these before. You guys have liked them. I've kind of gotten behind the ball on this. And so we are going to look at basically 2 different styles of the year, 2 different parts of the year. And I think that that's going to be very informative because if you're in the short-term rental game, and you probably know this already, if you're not, if you're in the long-term rental game or something else, there is a lot of seasonality with short-term rentals. And so the areas of June, July, October, Thanksgiving, Christmas, these types of times of the year are very easy to rent. They're going to rent for maximum amounts of money. You're going to see that in October. But the other parts of the year don't. Your Mays, your Septembers, your Augusts even, and sometimes they rent better or worse, in this year versus last year. For example, this year, August really kind of threw me for a loop because usually the first 2 weeks of August are pretty good. Even though kids are getting back in school, vacations are winding down, but in this case this year it wasn't. Where you're going to be looking at our first 2 cabins, this is our Moonlight Ridge and our Whispering Woods cabin, 2 bed, 2 bath. We purchased these both in 2021. We actually purchased them 90 days apart when interest rates were super low, and we were like, we got to get more of these while the interest rates are low. And so we're going to start off in August, and again, that's a transition month out of that real heavy summertime travel. Kids are getting back in school. People are kind of have burned through their summertime money, and things are sort of slowing down in the Smokies before we get to leaf season, which is that end of September through the beginning of November, and you're going to see that in our October numbers coming down the road. Our Whispering Woods property only did $4,386.75 of gross revenue, and that did surprise me. And we did see a slowdown earlier in the month of August than we were looking, than I had projected. After all the expenses, which cleaning expenses are usually our highest number other than maybe interest expense in any given month, we ended up with a net income on that one of only $1,099.77. If you look at our property, Moonlight Ridge, this is, again, it has outdoor fireplace, indoor fireplace, stone showers. This is a really cool cabin, but it is actually the smallest cabin in our entire portfolio. Nonetheless, it busted out $7,362.46 in the month of August. And after you've taken out all of our expenses, we netted nearly $4,000 in revenue. So then we will get into September of 2023, and this is typically one of the lowest months out of the entire year. People have gone back to school. Folks aren't traveling as much. They're kind of getting ready for the Thanksgiving holiday, and this is just a lull. This same thing happens in May before schools get out and before the big summer vacation season hits. And so the revenues come down, your occupancy comes down. Again, we see that Whispering Woods has done about $4,582.11, and Moonlight Ridge has done $54,1979. And when we come down here to the bottom of the list, again, we're easily in the black, $1165 for Whispering Woods and almost $2,500 for Moonlight Ridge. And Moonlight Ridge has always been a standout, and it always rents. Pretty much 100% of the time, I can put almost any price on it that I want that's, within reason, and it ends up renting. And the amenities and the features and the location of that cabin really just make it pop and make it stand out. So if you guys are looking for these properties, make sure you guys are getting these high quality places that have the things that people want. In this case, it's high in the mountains. It looks like a log cabin. It is a log cabin. It has a hot tub. It has fireplaces. It has pool table. Everything that folks are going to want, especially for the size of that place, for honeymooners, a small family, or maybe a couple of couples. Now moving on into October, this is an extremely high level of occupancy, high level of prices. People are coming down here to see the leaves, to enjoy the fall, because it is very pretty in the entire area. We ended up visiting in November, and it was fabulous. So our Whispering Woods cabin, again, this is the one that typically does not as well as the Moonlight Ridge cabin did. $8,063.03. The Moonlight Ridge did $10,040.33, and that is the first time that I think any of my cabins have done over $10,000 in 1 month since 2021. And again, it was this Moonlight Ridge cabin, the first month that we had it on the market during the COVID insanity. It did over $10,000. We were able to crack that 5-digit mark by starting to do one-night rentals, and that was able to get us a one-night stay that ended up netting us like $450 or something outrageous. The total cost of the guest was like $600 something. But they liked it, they thought it was worth it, and they spent it. And at the end of the day, Whispering Woods actually netted us more than the Moonlight Ridge cabin did, specifically because we had to pay our HOA dues for the year of $1,814, but that takes care of all the road maintenance, all the snow clearing, because Sevierville does a very bad job of clearing the roads. That covers our 3 pools, on-site security, and so that is, in my opinion, a pretty good value for the money. At the end of the month there, we netted $8,707.92. And so you can see where in these really high months, you can make a ton of money. And in the lower months, you can either break even or still make some money, as long as you have great places and you market them well and you're aggressive with your pricing and your minimum stays. So when we get into our third cabin, this is one we call Pop's Pinnacle. We rent this as a 3-bed, 2-bath with 2 private bedrooms, a loft bedroom. It sleeps up to 8. This is one of my favorite cabins, but for whatever reason, it is just not popping the way that we had expected to. Now, that doesn't mean that we're losing money or anything on this. It just means that we're not making as much as I think that we potentially can. And I think that there's a lot to be said with that about building reviews. And I think we need to probably have new pictures taken for this one. But we're going to start in August. And again, August sort of took me by surprise. And we only did $5,459 in August for a net profit of $1,111.62. These are not high months for the Smokies market. And so you're not going to make a ton of money. You're not going to make your whole nut for the year in any one of these months like you can in June, July, and October, and March and April when the spring breakers are coming. Now, September, again, this is probably one of the worst months in the Smoky Mountains. We only did $5,143.65 in revenue, and our net income comes in at a lowly $153.50. Got some work to do next September on that one as well. But when we get here into October, this looks like a much nicer set of numbers. $8,824.81 with, you can look at all the expenses here on the screen, including $14.75 in cleaning, and the biggest one is the interest expense of $25.77, because this is a $600,000 cabin that we have a 6.25% interest rate versus our other cabins. The most expensive one we had there was a $525 dollar purchase price. That one has a 3.12% interest rate. The other one was $469, and that has a 4.875, I believe. Now, at the beginning of the video, I said that the side benefits really are going to end up being more, profitable for you than the main benefits. That is your cash flow, and your cash flow numbers have got to make sense, in my opinion. There are folks that invest in properties, especially out in California, where they lose money every month, but they bet on the appreciation continuing, so they make money in the end. And people have done that. But for me, the cash flow has to make sense. So when we look at a property, once we've got all of our income in, paid all of our expenses, that cash flow, that's money that we can put in our pocket. We can buy a new camera, we can buy a new car, we can buy all sorts of stuff with it, but that is not where we are going to make most of our money. That's just the paycheck that we get every single day. When we start looking at the back end money of all of these deals, you start looking at no pay down, appreciation on the buildings, and this is going to be long term. We had a spot there where buildings, especially in Gatlinburg, were appreciating by 10, 20, 25% or more annually. That's not sustainable, and there are going to be probably times right now that the values may have even come down by 5% or 10% or whatever it is. But over the course of time, they will always appreciate, just like every piece of real estate does that doesn't end up in a super fund site or something like that. Then again, you have your no pay down from just paying the principal portion of your mortgage, and the tax benefits of depreciation sheltering probably 100% of the net profit of your business, because of the way that depreciation works with real estate, as well as all your other normal business deductions for operating expenses. And so when I look at our portfolio, it's probably valued at about $600,000 per cabin on average. So we have a $1.8 million portfolio down there. If it goes up by 3% of appreciation per year, that's something like $54,000, something like that. I just did the math earlier. But when you break that down monthly down to what we're getting per month, it's about $4,500 a month in appreciation. And even if it wasn't 3%, if it was only 1.5% over the course of, 30 years that let's say the mortgage is, you're still looking at what, $22.50 every single month of money that is going into your net worth from appreciation alone. We also pay down about $2,200 a month on our principal pay down, just from paying the mortgage out of money that people pay to have their vacations there. And so if you take that $4,500 plus $2,200, you got $6,700, and then on top of all that, not paying any taxes on any of those income amounts. Especially with the equity stuff, that's for one just going towards your net worth. It's not necessarily coming out. You can either 1031 exchange that into other buildings, you can take home equity loans, or you can refinance, pull that money out, then it would come back to you tax free. And there's a lot of different strategies on that, but which is sort of outside the scope of this video. But the point is that in addition to that cash flow, you are getting just tremendous gains of equity in your buildings, and the tax shelters of investing in rental real estate are just through the roof. So guys, if you like this, because I did give you an insight into our actual business, the numbers that we are actually doing, not anything hypothetical, and you got to see the good, the bad, and the ugly, depending on what part of the year that we're in, how good I was able to manage these places. I would appreciate it if you give me a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed to this channel yet, hit the subscribe button down below. I appreciate you guys watching and tuning in today, and I'll see you in the next one.